Welcome, young friends. We're going on a special adventure today to a place you can call home, Asean. Are you ready? The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, better known as ASEAN, was formed in 1967. ASEAN has 10 members. Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam.
Ivea Suicidei, my fellow Cambodian. Today, I will share to you the economic status of our country. Cambodia's economic freedom score is 57.4, making its economy the 108th freest in the 2014 index. Its overall score is 1.1, worse than the last year due to the decline in monetary freedom, business freedom, labor freedom, and freedom from corruption. Cambodia is ranked 23rd out of 42 countries in the Asia-Pacific region, and its overall score is lower than the regional average. Since Cambodia's economic freedom was first assessed in 1997 index, its progress in adopting policies that enhance economic freedom has been uneven and modest. The country's overall economic freedom score has improved by only 4.5 points, with advancements in trade freedom, monetary freedom, and investment freedom, largely offset by significant declines in business freedom and freedom from corruption. Cambodia has advanced into the ranks of the moderately free during the early 2000s, but has fallen back to the status of economically mostly unfree since 2006. Substantial challenges remain, particularly in implementing deeper institutional and systemic reforms that are critical to strengthening the foundations of economic freedom. Government interference continues to undetermine dynamic flows of the investment and overall economic efficiency. A weak and inconsistent judiciary does not protect private property effectively. Investment in mining, forestry, agriculture, textiles, tourism, hydropower, and real estate frequently involve land grabs by powerful politicians, bureaucrats, and military.
Limited government. The top individual income tax rate has fallen to 20%. The top corporate tax rate remains at 20% for most businesses, but 30% for the petroleum and gas sectors. Other taxes include a value-added tax and an excise tax. The overall tax burden has remained steady at about 10.9% of GDP. Expenditures remain around 20% of the domestic economy, and public debt has stabilized at around 29% of GDP. Regulatory efficiency. The overall freedom to establish and run a private enterprise is constrained significantly by the inefficient regulatory environment. Starting a business remains time-consuming and completing licensing requirements takes more than 500 days. The formal labor market is not fully developed, and enforcement of many aspects of the labor codes is ineffective. Most prices are determined by the market, but the state has been increasing subsidies for fuel. Open markets. Cambodia has an average tariff rate of 9.5%. The country's underdeveloped legal system is a deterrent to foreign investment. The financial system remains segmented and subject to government influence. There is only one company listed in the country's first stock market, which opened in 2012 after years of delay. Cambodia's gross domestic product is $37,250,000,000. Cambodia's GDP per capita is $2,200, which is 78% lower than the world average of $10,200. Gini coefficient. This index measures the degree of inequality in the distribution of family income in a country. The lower the index, the more even the income distribution. Unemployment rate. The percent of the labor force that is without an job, a country with independence, neutrality, peace, freedom, democracy, and human rights, as you all have seen, shall be existing with no end. Ao Kun, and God bless everyone.
Thank you, Mr. De La Cruz and Mr. Miranda. And now, let us proceed to our second country, Cambodia, with its leader, Mr. Christian James Villanueva. Malaysia, rather.
To the people who have gathered here today, and those who are watching, Hari Baik Untuk Semua. I am here once again to speak to you about our standing as a Malaysian nation. I once read this on the internet. I don't trust words, I trust actions. That's why everything that I will be saying here today are all facts on my actions as your Prime Minister. As of today, I am proud to say that our economic status is increasing. Let's look back a few years. We all know that the Malaysia has faced many hardships, especially when we've been hit by an economic turmoil which caused our economic status to gradually fall down. During that time, we didn't let our crisis stop us. We continued rising up. And look where it got us now. From the year 1997 to the present, it is safe to say that we are regaining back our fallen economic status. Just like they say, we all learn from mistakes. Since the 1997 crisis, we are trying hard to lift up our economy. Using our own resources, we were able to, step by step, bring back the old Malaysia. The Malaysia that is rich in all aspects: economy, people, and everything. Investors, industries, raw materials, and products. All this contributes in strengthening our economy. The investors shape up our industry to make our economic standards uptight and to the fullest. The last quarter of 2013 brought to us a 5.1% GDP, but on the first quarter of 2014, it became 6.20%. Using our industry in its correct way, we will be able to bring out the best of Malaysia. As of today, we are now ranked 29 in the largest economy in the world and the third in the largest economy in Asia. However, sometimes we go too much on our surroundings. We all know that Malaysia has been rising up with the use of industrialization. Because of industrialization, our surroundings become a bit vague. We face many problems that the industrialization causes us. Deforestation. One of its effects is habitat fragmentation, in which the animals have lost their habitat because of deforestation, find a new home. Another is pollution. As we all know, Malaysia is one of the least emitters of gas and water pollution. But due to industrialization, Malaysia emits more gas and water as time goes by. It is true that industrialization helps Malaysia regain its fallen economic status in many ways. But sacrificing our environment for the good of our country is not worth it. One of Malaysia's top enemy is corruption. Like any other country, it's getting worse and worse by the hour. That's why most people are losing trust in the government. Just like what Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. Being the Prime Minister of Malaysia, I am in charge of restoring our former glory, our former economic status. With the right leadership skills, we can once again regain Malaysia's status. Our goal is just around the corner. With the combined efforts of our government officials, we can make this nation rise out once again. Once again, hari baik untuk semua, and thank you.
I am standing here today to talk about the economic status of Brunei Darussalam. Today, Brunei Darussalam is the second highest in the Asean region. But we will try our best that next year we will be on the top of the ASEAN region by making our economy more productive and more resourceful. Our nation has a small but have a wealthy economy, which is growing to a slow and steady rate. It has remained stable with an average inflation rate of 1.5% for the last 20 years of our nation. For incoming years, our nation will improve its economic status and economic development. The people in our nation have enjoyed the high quality of life estimated with $31,000 per capita income. The government will still support and give a high quality of life to the Brunei citizens. Our economy has been dominated by the oil and gas industry industry for the last 8 years. Hydrocarbon resources account for over 90% of its export and more than 50% of its gross domestic product. Today, my friend, Brunei is the fourth largest oil producer in Southeast Asia. And Brunei is the ninth largest exporter of liquefied natural gas in the world.
Brunei Darussalam imports about 80% of its food requirements, with the government subsidizing staples such as rice, sugar, and milk. The government also subsidies housing, electricity, water, and oil, as well as providing comprehensive medical services and free education through to university level. It can help each of us to make our country, our future better. Or I say, children now will bring us or our country up. Brunei operates a currency board system with the Brunei dollar and pegged to the Singaporean dollar, allowing both currencies to be legally interchangeable in Brunei and Singapore. Brunei Darussalam has a low tariff region and no capital gains or personal income tax. Under its investments, incentives Order 2001. Prospective investors will also enjoy a wide range of incentives, including up to a possible 20 years exemption from corporate tax, exemption from import duties taxes on raw material, machinery, equipment, component parts and accessories, or building structures, and adjustment of capital allowance and losses. However, there is a rising awareness in the country of depleting natural resources and the subsequent need to diversify the economy away from its over-reliance on oil and gas.
For the plans for the next year of our nation, we should upgrade the labor force of our nation, reducing the unemployment of the youth, strengthening the bank and the tourist sectors, and further widening the economic base beyond oil and gas production. Before I end my speech, I will leave you a message. I will not promise that I can accomplish over the past 5 years of life, but I, as the president of this nation, will do my best for my nation. Terima kasih and good afternoon.
To my fellow Indonesian, Selamat pagi. Good morning to you all. This is my 5th SONA and one more step. Dreaming is like fullness. There is a bureaucracy with no sense. Problems are too many. And yet, corruption is swelling in our system. The people of Indonesia are the world's third in name of numbers. The incoming administration will face hard policy choices to address rising fiscal pressures and to implement much-needed reform to deliver on the economy's enormous potential. I am thankful to my fellow Indonesians who voted and trusted me as their president. I am just a simple person who sometimes have a second mind, but still, for the sake of my country, I have made my mind because my mission is clear: to make the government back to the way it should be, to serve my fellow men in all aspects and time of my life. A baby is God's opinion, that life should go on. A child has the power to enter your life and feel a special place in your heart you never knew was empty. And in the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years. Being a president is like a parent. You need to teach your fellow men on how to catch fish, and he can live by himself. A good example of this is our trusted Lansima, who promotes jobs for our teenagers and fellow men for their future. For our record this year, GDP growth in the first quarter of 2014 moderated further to 6.2% year-on-year from 5.7% in the prior quarter. The slower growth rate is due partly to the macro-stabilizing economy and exchange rate policy measures that have been taken to move to a more sustainable current account footing and enhance investor confidence. However, exports have remained sluggish, in part due to the impact of raw mineral export ban implemented in January. Indonesia's economic growth in 2014 is projected by the World Bank to be 5.2%, slightly lower than 5.3% forecasted in March 2014. Lower government consumption than previously expected, slower credit growth, and continued weakness in commodity-related income growth are likely to constrain GDP growth in second half of 2014. Growth in fixed investment is slowed to 4.7% in 2013 after strong increases of about 9% annually in 2010 to 2012. This largely reflected the impact of high interest rates and rupiah depreciation had on investment in machinery and equipment. Investments in building held up relatively well. The central government's capital spending moderated, though it still expanded by 18.4%. Gross fixed investment as a share of GDP edged down to 31.7%. Our government consumption grew by 4.9%, which signals some improvement in budget execution. Higher net export of goods and services made a significant contribution to our GDP growth last year. Despite weakness in major export markets, this improvement resulted from import restraint caused by the rupiah depreciation and slower investment, together with a modest growth in our export volume. Our GNI per capita grows for approximately 3,580, and even though it is lower than the other countries, it is still the second and in the middle of the ranking. With that, give Indonesia a round warm of applause. To achieve longer-term goals, such as lifting growth above 6% and reducing inequality, infrastructural reforms such as fuel subsidy and more infrastructure investments are crucial and will help share more volume prosperity.
Prosperity. In the absence of policy measures to support investment and productivity growth, the risk of a more structural deterioration in growth will mount. Subdued revenue growth and rising energy subsidy costs have increased fiscal pressures, prompting a substantial revision to the 2014 budget, under which the fiscal deficit is increased to 2.5% of GDP, up from 1.7%. The fiscal position remains vulnerable to any further rise in oil prices or weakening in the rupiah. And the need to improve further the quality of spending and enhance revenue mobilization is becoming critical if Indonesia is to achieve its development priorities. Hidup lamang. Commitment is what transforms a promise into reality, and unless commitment is made, there are only promises and hopes, but no plans. In this year, we budget every money of our society. It's a fiscal year, thanks to our government. The commitments in this year grew up to 2,221 and is still counting. According to Nelson Mandela, poverty is not an accident, like slavery and apartheid. It is a man-made and can be removed by the actions of human beings. I get pity for those people who experience hunger and poverty. So I made all the actions to lessen those people, and now, as a result, we now overlap the line of poverty, and 76% of our fellow man can now access water from different sources. Investing what is comfortable is rarely profitable. To be successful and grow your business and revenues, you must watch the way you market your products. Be proud of our country. We can now trade freely greater than the past year. Our investment freedom grows into 40%, and the financial turns into 60%. Through this, I am confident that our country will grow fast but peaceful. Thank you.
Pilipino ay patuloy na tumatahak sa tuwid na daan. Patungkol nga po sa tuwid na daan na ating tinatahak, mga kababayan. Paramihin pa po natin ang 8,581 milyong sityo na ating pong napailawan na. Noon ay dati po'y walang ilaw. Nang benepisyo pong dulot nito ay hindi lamang sa mga matatanda sa sityo roon, kundi pati na rin po sa mga bata mag-aaral doon na hindi na po ngayon magtsatsaga sa ilaw ng kandila o kasera upang makagawa lamang ng kanilang mga asignatura. Gayun din, paramihin po natin ang 28,378 pamilyang dating informal settlers na ngayon ay may konkreto na pong tirahan, mapaaraw man o tagulan. Gayun din, paramihin din po natin ang 40 bilyong piso na pondo na napupunta po sa mga proyekto ng pamahalaan, lalong-lalo na po sa sistema ng edukasyon at pangkalusugan. Sa larangan po ng edukasyon, mga kababayan, mabigat po talaga ang suliranin natin, lalong-lalo na po sa mga silid-aralan, mga aklat na ginagamit ng bawat mag-aaral. At mas masakit pong katotohanan, pati na rin po sa ating mga guro, na sana po ay sila nagtuturo sa ating mga batang mag-aaral. Sa katunayan po, unti-unti po natin itong sinusolusyonan. Naglaan po tayo ng malaking pondo upang hindi na po magsiksikan ang 50 hanggang 60 mga bata sa loob ng isang silid-aralan upang matuto lamang. Sa katunayan nga po, ang presyo ng libro na ginagamit ng bawat bata na dati ay umaabot sa 58 piso ang bawat isa, ay bumaba na po sa eksaktong 30 piso, na kung saan ang 28 piso po na ating matitipid ay maaari po natin gamitin sa pagpapaunlad at pagpasaayos ng ating edukasyon sa Pilipinas. Bakit hindi rin po natin paramihin ng mga TESDA Dole Scholars na sa ngayon ay tinatayang umabot na po ang bilang sa 503,521, tinatayang 6 Sa bawat 10 mga graduate ng TESDA scholars ay nakahanap na po ng kanilang trabaho at nakatutulong sa kanilang mga pinansyal na pangangailangan. Ngayong taon po, tinatayang 85% ng lahat ng mga graduate ng TESDA scholars ang nakahanap na ng trabaho. Malayong-malayo na po. Sa 28 at 5% ng mga graduate ng TESDA scholars noong 2006 hanggang 2008 na nakahanap ng trabaho. Nililinaw ang sistema ng edukasyon dito sa atin sa Pilipinas. Kahit na po napakarami ng ating suliranin. Na ang edukasyon ay hindi lamang po makatutulong sa pag-unlad ng ating ekonomiya, kundi pati na rin po sa mithiin at hangarin ng ating mga kababayan na makapagtapos at magkaroon ng maginhawang buhay. Kung papatulan at palalakihin po natin ang mga sari-sariling opinyon ng sambayanang Pilipino. Noong ako ay bata pa,